Welcome to Cross Transformation. It's Mariam here, and today I'm going to be talking to you about why do we attract toxic relationships. It feels like we walk into these relationships without knowing what's going to happen next. It feels like we even didn't register those red flags in earlier stages of the relationship. Maybe the first time that we were on that date, we couldn't recognize the red flag in those earlier conversations, or somehow the unconscious mind decided to ignore them, or maybe they were familiar to the unconscious mind, so our ego decided to go ahead with those connections and relationships, and later we found out that, you know what, this is so toxic. This person is a narcissist, or I've been with this abuser for the last 24 months. Somehow it takes some time to understand the situation and to realize what we have signed up for. So you really want to understand, why do we do this to ourselves? Why we don't recognize, register those earlier red flags when the person is saying something and it can come across as verbal abuse, and somehow we ignore that. Guess what? 24 months later, we're struggling with it, and the momentum of it is huge. So this attraction, or this attraction power, is all about rescuing that attachment trauma. So our ego is trying to overcome the attachment trauma from our childhood. And how does the ego do this? Our ego, based on the unconscious mind, have believed that a toxic relationship and a toxic person would give us the opportunity to overcome the attachment trauma. And because ego's identity is in that trauma the whole time, it is trying to overcome, to repair that ruptured connection, that attachment trauma. So how does the ego do that? The first step is bouncing back to that attachment trauma. And the ego does it by finding relationships that would facilitate that action. And those relationships are going to be toxic, because that's how they would be a match to that ruptured, broken connection and attachment. So somehow part of us, that separated part of us, ego's dwelling, is struggling with that trauma, and to overcome that, to repair it, it is so confused that it will find a toxic relationship, because that toxicity would equal that trauma. So it's like finding the right program and off you go. We now can go back and fix it. And because it's ego's identity, that broken attachment, it doesn't let go. So that toxic relationship is literally a platform for ego to overcome the attachment trauma, so we can feel connected, feel good about ourselves, feel that we can survive, and finally we found a way to make it work, despite the fact that we are really struggling in the present moment with that toxic relationship. So that toxic relationship would mean the attachment trauma, and the ego is working through it in the present moment so it can fix what is in the unconscious mind about the attachment trauma. Second, so the first was bouncing back. We're just going to hurry up and go back. Second is holding on to that attachment trauma. And the best person that would allow that to happen is going to be a toxic person, a narcissist, an abuser, because somehow they don't understand our needs. So as I've been saying, a narcissist is so involved in their abandoned self outside of them, that image that the whole time they are trying to see us as victims so they can overcome that outside of them. And because we are so desperate, our ego is so desperate to fix that attachment trauma, we would find the most difficult, the most toxic person so we can hang out with them for some time. So eventually we would hold on to that attachment and having it fixed. But consciously in the present moment, it's not achievable. We are just hurting our souls, and it is so painful. It's worse than a heartbreak to have a toxic person like a narcissist and to deal with them. So if you keep questioning yourself why you are attracting toxic partners, abusive people, just understand that there is that need. It's raining and it's beautiful. That need, that the ego or our ego wants us to repair that attachment from our childhood so we can feel connected. Oh, I think I'm gonna go louder, because the whole time its identity is in that attachment style, that attachment trauma. So beautiful. I'm just gonna wait for a little bit. So the whole time ego's identity is in that attachment trauma. Meanwhile, we are meant to find who we are in Jesus, in God, in the mind of Christ. So instead of going back to that attachment, we want to go forward towards who we are in God. I'm going to wrap this up. Bless your soul. I love the sound of this rain. It is so healing. It's so beautiful. I mean, the present moment is so amazing. Bless you. Take a deep breath in. Breathe in the Holy Spirit. Breathe out. So nice. So beautiful. Bless your soul. Look after your precious soul. Be at peace, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. You deserve to be happy, and more importantly, to be in a healthy, committed relationship that is of love. May you be blessed. I'll talk to you soon, and God bless you.